Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. May 4th is known as Star Wars Day, so may the 4th be with you. Today, we're going to be learning all about Star Wars. But as always, before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. Look closely at the wise and powerful Jedi Master Yoda in his original film appearances. Rumor has it the puppet's distinctive wrinkled facial features and expressive eyes were directly modeled after the famous physicist Albert Einstein. The theory goes the designers modeled the puppet after Einstein to subconsciously communicate the character's profound intelligence to the audience. What do you think? Is this an actual fact or just too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is Jedi. That's Jedi. Jedi is a noun referring to a member of the mystical knightly order within the Star Wars universe. In the context of the films, Jedi are highly trained peacekeepers who possess the supernatural ability to tap into an energy field called the Force. They're instantly recognizable by their lightsabers and simple flowing robes. Interestingly, this word has taken on a life beyond the cinematic universe. It became so culturally ubiquitous over the decades that it was officially added to the Oxford English Dictionary in 2019 to describe a person who shows exceptional skill or expertise in a specific field. The etymology of the word Jedi traces back to George Lucas's profound admiration for Japanese films. When developing the mythology of Star Wars, Lucas was heavily influenced by the samurai films of the legendary director Akira Kurosawa. In Japan, these historical period dramas about samurai warriors are known as jidaigeki. Lucas liked the phonemic sound of the word Jedi and modified it to create the term Jedi. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about Star Wars. Number 1. George Lucas came up with the character of Chewbacca based on his own dog. During the early development of the film, Lucas had a large Alaskan Malamute named Indiana. Whenever Lucas drove his car, the massive dog would sit upright in the passenger seat next to him. Because the dog was larger than a typical pet, he appeared to be a furry co-pilot to anyone driving past. This striking visual led to the concept of Han Solo's loyal, towering co-pilot on the Millennium Falcon. Interestingly, George Lucas's dog didn't just affect the visual design of Chewbacca. The dog's name, Indiana, was later borrowed for the name of the famous archaeologist Indiana Jones in Lucas's other blockbuster franchise. As for the name Chewbacca, Lucas reportedly derived it from the Russian word sobaka, which translates to dog. Sound designer Ben Burt blended the vocalizations of bears, lions, walruses, and badgers to create the Wookiee's signature roar. Number 2. The lightsaber sound effect was created using a broken television and an old film projector. Creating a sound for a fictional lightsaber is a new and unique challenge that required some outside-of-the-box thinking. The sound designer, Ben Burt, started by recording the hum of the interlocking motors inside an old simplex film projector at the University of Southern California. While carrying a microphone across a room, he passed by a broken television set and captured a distinct electrical buzzing sound. Burt realized that blending the projector hum with the television interference created the perfect idle hum for the Jedi weapon. This happy accident provided the foundational tone that fans instantly recognize today. But to make the weapons sound more dynamic during the combat scenes, Burt employed an audio principle known as the Doppler effect. He played the combined projector and television sounds through a speaker in a studio. Then he took a microphone and physically swung it through the air in front of the speaker to mimic the movements of a sword fight. As the microphone moved closer and further from the speaker, the pitch of the hum shifted naturally because of the Doppler effect. Basically, the idea of the Doppler effect is as the source of the sound is moving towards you, the sound waves are sort of bumping up against each other and it starts to get higher pitched. And then as the sound source is moving away from you, the sound waves are spreading out and it's going to get a lower pitch. So combining these unconventional sound sources with the innovative technique of the Doppler effect gave the lightsabers that iconic sweeping whoosh sound during the duels. Number 3. The original spaceship models were built using parts from hundreds of commercial plastic model kits. The original visual effects team at Industrial Light and Magic utilized a technique called kitbashing to build the spaceships. Instead of sculpting every tiny mechanical detail by hand, model makers purchased hundreds of commercial plastic model kits. They extracted small, highly detailed plastic pieces from kits designed to build World War II tanks, battleships, and Formula One race cars. These assorted pieces, known in the industry as greebles, were carefully glued onto the exterior hulls of the Star Wars ships. This added a realistic mechanical texture to the models. The Millennium Falcon model is probably the most famous example of this kit-bashing technique. The initial shooting model was 5 feet long and had components stripped from over 300 separate model kits. The addition of these greebles helped establish George Lucas's vision of a used universe where spaceships looked weathered, industrial, and frequently repaired. Number 4. The language spoken by the Ewoks is based on a real-world language from Russia. When it came time to give voice to the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi, the production team turned to real-world linguistics. They wanted the forest dwellers to speak a language that sounded organic and ancient rather than just synthesized gibberish. They based the Ewok language primarily on Kalmyk Oirat, a language spoken by the Kalmyk people of Russia. They recorded an elderly Kalmyk woman telling folk tales in her native language to serve as a foundation. This gave the Ewok dialogue a realistic vocal cadence and texture. Building on that foundation, they then integrated elements of Tibetan, Nepali, and other languages to complete the Ewok vocabulary. Voice actors were brought into the recording studio to listen to the source recordings and mimic the phonetic sounds. They then processed these new recordings by slightly altering their pitch and speed to make them sound lighter and more energetic. By layering different voice actors and manipulating their playback speed, they created an illusion of an entire community of creatures. The final result is a constructed language that feels unique to a galaxy far, far away, but it's actually deeply rooted in Earth's rich cultures. And our fifth and final fun fact for today. The name of the beloved droid R2-D2 was inspired by an audio editing abbreviation used while making the film American Graffiti. Long before Star Wars was finalized, creator George Lucas was working on the sound mix for the 1973 coming-of-age film American Graffiti. During a late-night editing session, the sound editor, Walter Murch, asked Lucas to hand him a specific reel of film. Murch asked for Reel 2 Dialogue 2 using the standard industry shorthand, abbreviating it to R2-D2. George Lucas was struck by the phonetic cadence and rhythmic sound of that specific combination of letters and numbers. He wrote down the abbreviation in his notebook, knowing he wanted to use it for a future project. Years later, when Lucas was drafting the complex script for the space opera, he needed a memorable designation for his heroic droid. He flipped back through his old notes and rediscovered the audio editing abbreviation from that late night session. The name R2-D2 perfectly suited the mechanical, utilitarian nature of a robotic character while still sounding friendly and approachable. Now for some news you can use. The movie magic in Star Wars seems out of this world on screen, but as we learned, it was all created by people cleverly repurposing familiar things. You may not have an R2 unit that can broadcast a holographic message from Princess Leia, but you can hack some items you probably have around your house to make some amazing effects, like a mini hologram projector. All you need is some clear plastic, a CD jewel case can work nicely, a smartphone, and some tape. First, you're going to carefully cut 4 identical triangles out of clear plastic and tape the edges together to form a small, upside-down triangle. Then, search YouTube on your phone for a smartphone hologram video. Place the plastic pyramid upside down on the center of the screen and turn off the room lights. You'll see a 3D image floating inside the plastic. This trick works using a modernized version of a 19th century theater illusion known as Pepper's Ghost. The videos designed for this trick display 4 symmetrical, distorted images facing the center of the screen. When you place the clear plastic pyramid on the screen, each side acts as a partial mirror. The plastic reflects the light coming from the screen into your eyes, but because the plastic is transparent, your brain perceives the reflected image as floating in the empty air behind the plastic, creating a convincing 3-dimensional illusion. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, do you think Yoda was actually designed to look like Albert Einstein? Turns out, this one is an actual fact. When legendary special effects artist Stuart Freeborn was tasked with designing Yoda for The Empire Strikes Back, he needed the character to immediately convey deep wisdom and knowledge. To achieve this, Freeborn cleverly blended his own facial features with the wrinkles, heavy eyelids, and expressive upper lip of Albert Einstein. This design choice helped convey Yoda's brilliance to an audience before the character even spoke a single word. And here's a little bonus fact about Yoda's speaking. Anyone who has watched the movies has certainly noticed Yoda's unusual speech pattern. It may feel like the words are a bit jumbled and out of order, but there's a system to it. While standard English follows a subject-verb-object cadence, Yoda spoke using an object-subject-verb or sometimes object-verb-subject. It's rare, but there are some languages spoken in the Amazon basin that use the object-subject-verb syntax. Lucas chose to have Yoda speak in this unusual way for a couple of reasons. First off, in the movies, Yoda was supposed to be about 900 years old, so he was speaking in an older dialect that seems unusual compared to the way the younger generation speaks. It makes sense if you think about how much language evolves and changes over nearly a millennium. If you don't believe me, just try reading some medieval literature. Probably more importantly, though, Lucas didn't want the audience to ignore the little green puppet character. Scrambling the syntax forced the audience to actively listen, decode, and think about Yoda's wise teachings. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about Star Wars with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.